Welcome back to SOS. I'm Staff Sergeant Badass. Today we're doing some leathercraft. There are a group of you that prefer leathercraft. You want to learn more. And these are tips and tricks that most people are not going to show you. You're not going to learn this kind of stuff from any other leathercraft channel. I'm just throwing it out there because they're going to do it all by the book and all this stuff. I know a lot of you out there can't afford a lot of high-tech stuff, okay? And I'm going to show you some low-tech stuff just real quick. And then I'm going to move on to finish this little sheath real quick. I think you'll like it. Alright, we'll move you over here. Okay, now that I've got you here. Now when I made this sheath here, everybody looks at this and thinks, wow, you know, that's crazy. I run into people out in public that are just fascinated with the art that goes into that. And it's clean stitched lines, it's nice and cut. It's even sealed on the edges, all that stuff. Everything fits snug and doesn't fly out. I don't need a flap to come over the top of it, and it's pretty solid. And even in situations where I've been camping, this little through night flashlight, a lot of people love the TO1, right? So with this true night, I'll take it and just kind of do that, right? And I'll turn it on and it's on my hip, but it's lighting up everything around me. It's crazy. But I've always liked being able to do that. And then, of course, you've got your multi-tool, and then I've got a ferro rod and some fat wood, lighter knot. A lot of people call it lighter knot. All right, so that's real simple, and I mean it's about $3. That holster is about $3. I think it's roughly about $3. But me, well, maybe $5. I'll say $5. But me doing the work costs money too, right? You know, I'm just saying the leather doesn't cost that much in most situations. Let's get this out of the way. But how did I do that, right? I did a video about it. I used a good old Stanley staple gun, and I took the leather. Now this is a little bit thinner, right? I told you guys I would get to this. I dampened the leather. You get it wet. You don't have to saturate it under the sink for hours. You take a sponge and you kind of pat it, right? And then you take it, you get it cut into a square that you can use, right? Then you set the item first off, the first one that you're going to lay out on there. So basically, in this case, it would have been this one. All I do is set it underneath there. And then what I'll do, you'll notice that the movement of the leather once it's wet is very stretchy. It stretches a lot and easy once it gets wet. But you basically take your stapler and then bring it into the corner and then press into it and then firmly down until it stretches. Then drop a staple in. Run it in a pattern that you like, kind of like how I've done this one. I'll go ahead and I'll do one full stream all the way around, and then this side here I go all the way up. Then I put the next item I want to put in that rack up next. So I set the next item in place, which was the flashlight. Then I start stapling everything down around it. This is crude at first, but now I had to harden this. This was this color, so you see the difference, and you can see where some leather you get will get these speckles, okay, of like a type of mold or whatever around the edges and seams. Just remember, you're going to be trimming all that up, sealing it, and all that stuff. So you're going to get rid of all that. But for this one, I went with saddle tan. Now, removing the staples, a lot of you are probably like, hey, how do you get the staples out? Good job, you know, wise guy. You got them stapled. You got it stapled down to a piece of wood. You can use a staple remover, or you can use what I use, a flathead screwdriver. All I did was sharpen one side of it, and I can pry it up. You can even use a small pocket knife. You just have to reach under it and pry the staples up. Then you take needle nose pliers, grab the staple, and pull it out. There you go. All the way around. Now, it's crude at first, right? So now I got to finish this thing. I don't want to keep you guys too long. But yeah, I'll pull up my workbench here, just in case. See, I cover up most of the battle damage that I have to my workbench, and it is a workbench. That's what it's for. Okay, next step, I'm going to need to cut off this excess material I'm not going to use, because I need to know. Now you want to leave just a little bit of room there so you can do all the fancy stuff. Just like this. And like the thing is that someone is going to take this, what I'm making today, and is going to be wearing this everywhere. They're going to be wearing it for work. A lot of the stuff gets worn for work. And then this is specifically designed for one type of Leatherman. Now other Leathermans will fit in this, because once you get the wave, the Leatherman wave in there, just about anything will go in it at that point. Except for, items that are a little bit bigger than that. Which there's not too many. Okay. Now, I've got that laid out. Then, you're going to want to set this out. Figure out how much material is going to be required. Because you're going to want to be able to put that on there. You're going to want to be able to fold it. And you want to be able to ride into someone's hip. Excuse me. Kind of like that. But that would probably be enough material. And I probably don't even need that whole thing. So I will have a little bit of material left over. Let's just cut right here. I'm going to go ahead and cut up. Alright, let's get that out of the picture. Now let's see how this looks. But that was pretty much the trick for that. I always like sharing a little thing that I do on the show that always trips people out. Like, how did you do that? Okay, this is how. So now that I've got this on here, the next low-tech thing that I want to do here is glue this on here, because I don't want it moving around and getting all shifty on me. So now I could, prior to doing this, I can go ahead and get my holes done. But I won't really have to be honest. Yeah, I won't even have to do that, really. Yeah, I don't even need to do holes. I can finish that up on the back end here. But anyways, to keep it from getting shifty, right, this is another thing that I do. I take the back side of this, apply glue. This is another thing that other leather crafters out there in the world that watch my videos will email me the darndest things. They'll say things like, so you just use super glue and then you apply your stitches? Well, yeah. Why not? It's super, right? It's super glue. Alright, now I've got that in place. And you just kind of hold that down. Now I'm going to press this down and I'll be right back. Okay, now it's stuck on there. The next thing I'm going to want to do is take the head of a dart that I use quite a bit. Anyways, head of a dart and something that I like to do out of my toolkit here. Pliers. And I'll just grab it here, make my little adjustment. This helps you remove it once you punch a hole. Right? And me, I like using a surface like this. This is just a sheet of leather over a couple of blocks of wood. It saves me on all the abuse I've done to my table. But basically, you'll start your first one and just kind of work your way around, right? But you'll get this up here. Just kind of is one hole. And then just wiggle that out, just like that. And you're going to work your way all the way around with a nice space. Now you could make something, make some perfectly lined holes, or take a fork out of your kitchen. Don't tell the wife you're doing this. Take a fork out of the kitchen and grind down each side of the teeth till they make these sharp points. Then take that and stab it in order around your project. Then follow those marks, and that's exact spacing for your holes. That's another trick of doing that. A lot of people don't know that either. Or you could just go to the arts and crafts store and buy it yourself. But this is for people that can't or won't be able to. Okay, that's the reason why I'm doing this. Okay, I'm going to get moving. I got to punch a bunch of holes, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my holes done all the way around this outside. I'm going to go ahead and start stitching that up. You can buy this at any arts and craft. You can use so many different things. Fishing line, all sorts of stuff. I mean, you can substitute this out of anything. And the needles you can buy in any section that sells needles. I go with a heavier gauge needle, something that I can grab onto. This isn't going to be a regular sewing needle. It's going to look something like that. A little bit heavier duty, but that's exactly what you need to do. And you're going to use about that much, okay? So you're not going to need to roll it all the way through and tie it or anything weird, okay? All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, that was the first pass. Now I've got to start stitching the every other stitch back, all the way back, just like that. You can see that. There you go. Alright, I've went all the way around, double stitch. Now I'm going to curve up and go right up the middle. Plus I'm going to go ahead and take out that spot there that needs to get done. There's a spot on the bottom there. So there's here and here. It's kind of like a funky L or a Y. But yeah, I'll take care of that. Okay, so now I've got all the stitches done. You can see it's coming together. And I don't need this anymore. So some things you can start getting rid of. This, in and out flawlessly. Let's grab this light over here. See how this one works. Yeah, that's perfect. So now it'll secure in there tight, but not too tight that you can't pull it out. And then you could also turn it while it's in there too, so that's always good. So we got all that. Now I just need to trim up around it. Something that I like to do here. I'll just bring this down. Now that I've got them joined, I can cut this excess off. And some stuff will get sanded. You can put a back on here if you want, or not. It's not going to matter once I'm done with it. It's not going to need a backing on it. But you can add one if you want. I just don't need one for this project. That's strictly up to you. Then you're going to fold this. You want to give yourself enough space here. Once again, I'm going to slide this in place. You want to give it enough space so it's not stabbing a person in their side, right? My kids are in there fighting over spaghetti. Kills me. How do you fight over spaghetti? Everybody gets a plate. Alright. Now, one thing that I like to do in situations like this, you can punch the hole a certain particular way. Now, you can... Where's my hole? There it is. There we go. There's a punch. And then I just can punch this out here. Just like that. That way you can pace yourself and you don't just jab all the way through the leather. You can twist it and drive it in place. So I've got one. So I just got to get over here and get a rivet. There's a rivet. Now one thing that I like to do is put them in this way. I just like the way that looks. But some situations you're not going to be able to do that, right? Like, because you might have to come from the back side. But basically, now I've got to drive my rivets, and how I do this is I put this on here, and in situations where I have to, no, I've said situations like 9 times, right? I'll take and grab this with my tweezers. Tweezers in. Set it in place. If I can get it to stay on there, usually this just happens. It's only when I have a camera running, right? Isn't that how it works? You turn the camera on, all kinds of stuff starts going wrong. Any other time, this wouldn't happen. Alright, now I've got this other. So I could use brass, or I could just use this. But I use these for different things. I'll put them in places like this as my hard spot. And then hard surface. And that's just to make sure I've got it started, so I don't want to overdo it. Determine where that thing is. There we go. One step up. Put a step up in there. Once you get it started, you don't run the risk of knocking it out of there. Alright, there we go. Alright, nice and flush. So you just got to get something in there. I use a little bit thicker piece there. So now I got a nice flush rivet there. Now I can go ahead and make my hole for my next side. Right over here. While I'm doing that, I'm going to pause it. Now in the end, all of this will change color. It won't be this light tan when I'm done with it. It's all going to look a little bit different. So I usually just get started. I use my soldering iron, like always. I don't know how many of you have seen the tomato hornworm. I had tomato hornworms all over my plants, my tomatoes. They destroyed my tomato, one of my tomato plant. I didn't catch it in time. It'll devour everything. It's green in color. Will have like a red spiked horn out the back of the caterpillar. It's a caterpillar. And it doesn't turn into a butterfly or anything fancy. It just destroys. It only takes about a day. It can completely exfoliate an entire plant. One tomato plant. Now there's a wasp that kills it. I don't even know that. Tomato hornworm. But wasps will lay their eggs on the backs of the tomato hornworm, and they look like little white flowers all over it. And then let this thing heat up a little bit. Yeah. Anyways, the wasp, a certain type of wasp, will lay its eggs all over its back, and then they burrow into it and kill the hornworm. So it's good to have this particular wasp. So if I see the eggs on her hornworm, I don't kill it. But if I don't see no eggs, I'm cutting that hornworm in two with scissors. I was pretty upset when I saw my tomato plant. I wish I would have videotaped it when I caught the little guy. Well, he wasn't little though. And they poop everywhere. These brown or black pellets all over the place. It's pooping out your tomato plant from its feast. Stupid hornworm. I was pretty PO'd. But yeah, imagine that happening during an end time scenario, right? There goes your plant. How does that make you feel, Staff Sergeant Badass? Well, I'm pretty upset. New York City. Notice it works better each time I do that. That's something you'll have to do. There's that. What else do I want to do this thing? What did I do the top of that one? Yeah, it was kind of cool. I'll do that. That's my little teepee logo. Here's my... That means defense, if you want to know what that means. Self-defense. Or protection. Or there's so many other meanings for that symbol. Alright, 1 sec. In the next step, just get some Vaseline. And I've been using the same one of these. You could use a toothbrush. But this is what I use. I know this seems ridiculous to some of you out there in the world. Vaseline. I've had people that are in leathercraft. Vaseline. I never thought of that. Boy, that's unique. I'm going to try that. Well, you should. No one's ever done it because no one's, most people wouldn't think that something this simple, could it be that easy? Well, yes it is. Believe it or not. So you can tell I've got it pretty hard, right? I worked pretty hard to get this. Hear that? Yeah. That's some, I went from flimsy soft leather to super thick. It's not thick, it's just a little bit more durable. If a person would use this for work, they could wear it every day of their life. Literally. No problems. Not kidding. I don't make this stuff up. Because I wear mine every single day. Takes a little bit of work. But you'll see it. It starts to change color. It's kind of like polishing boots. You know how many of your old school jarheads out there, or soldiers, it doesn't matter. How many old school military brats I got out there? I wouldn't say brats. Dudes, guys, gals, even the military brats. That's what I meant by that. Well, Daddy said, you better shine your boots. But I ain't got no boots, Daddy. Like showing the time-consuming stuff. It's a lot of work goes into this. People think the video's like 30 minutes. Oh, it's only 30 minutes? You can make that in 30 minutes. It's not 30 minutes yet. You can make a holster in 30 minutes. No, I wished. The time it takes me to do this is a lot longer because I'm pausing a lot. I mean, this is a lot longer. Doing this part here isn't that bad. You're just conditioning the leather a little bit. Because the wearer doesn't want to have to do all this stuff. But for me, all my items, I've got conditioned. See, and it starts changing the look of everything. The whole back side of it's different. The whole front side's different. Now you see how they kind of start looking similar? Quite similar. Now this will start aging a little bit more. This stuff here will start looking a lot better. But yeah. Over time. That about does it. And then see what it looks like with one in it. Just like that. And that'll be on your belt. I like it like that. You don't need a retention on this. You don't. I don't use a retention for all that. I wear it every day. But you don't need a retention. That way you just... If you're upside down, dude, it ain't coming out. I'm telling you right now. You don't need a retention. The retention is in the sides if somebody does the leather work correctly for the item. So this is made specifically for that. So it's not coming out. Same with the flashlight. You'll be able to turn it on and off while it's in the sheath. That's why I put that little divot there. You see that notch? That notch is there for a reason. It's to tightly grip the bottom, not the top. See what I do there? I don't know how many of you noticed that. But you can change the shape of these things to fit your own. But yeah, that's a done deal, and it'll dry out, and it'll look a lot more like that. But I like the two-tone look. That's what I kind of wanted to go for. Plus, I had to harden it, and it's going to change the color of it. It wouldn't have looked right, so I made sure I did it like this. So there you go. One tool carrier ready to go to work, and you can wear it every day, and it won't break down on you. I wear my stuff every day. Make my own gun holster. My gun holster I use for my judge, I wear it every day. And I've been wearing it for a couple of years now. Alright. Okay, I hope that helps you get started, and you can start making your own little sheath. But I thought that'd be cool to add this as a new addition to sheath. This is different than what I've normally made. You know, because you've seen all this other craziness. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. You're watching S.O.S. I'm Staff Sergeant Badass. Have a beautiful, fabulous, fantastic rainbow unicorn pony, light bright. What other cool 80s stuff? Twister? Twister's cool. Not Naked Twister. Don't play that. Okay. Take it easy.